everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. I'm actually going to do a Brothers What's Going On video, and I was going to incorporate the R. Kelly updates into that video, but I decided to do them separately. So this is going to be hopefully a quick R. Kelly update video, and then I'll come back later with the Brothers update, because there's just been a whole lot of craziness going on in the news today with Antonio Brown, updates on the Cuba Gooding hearing, and just some other things that I was going to talk about. So that would be in another video, but let's go ahead and get into these R. Kelly updates. What's topping the news now is that a bench warrant has been issued for R. Kelly from the case that's going on in Minnesota, Hennepin County, I think it is. And you guys know that some woman, people are saying that it's a friend of Lisa Van Allen's. I haven't been able to confirm that, so I can't say if that's true or not. But some woman has come forward to say that in 2001, that she had an interaction with R. Kelly, and her story has led to Minneapolis, I believe it is, filing charges against him on prostitution charges. And I talk more about that in another video, and I'll drop the link. If you look above, you'll see the link to when I actually talk about that case. So basically, in a video that I did about a week and a half ago, it was following the September 4th hearing. I posted in that video all of the upcoming hearings that are scheduled for R. Kelly through October 30th. And one of those hearings was September 12th, that there was supposed to be an arraignment, I believe it was, in Minnesota on these charges. So nobody was really covering this story. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that information wasn't correct. And so yesterday, I did a search, and there were only two articles that were posted. One was for the Star Tribune, which I believe may be a newspaper in Minneapolis, and the other one I believe was for a radio station or something. But they basically said R. Kelly's due in court at one said 2 o'clock, one said 1:30. They weren't sure if he was going to appear, or if just his attorney was going to appear for him. And then one of the articles was later on, it was updated to state that at the end of August, at some point in August, there was a conference call between Steve Greenberg and the prosecutor's office about this upcoming hearing, and that Steve Greenberg said that R. Kelly wasn't going to appear. So the big news is that R. Kelly didn't appear for the hearing, that nobody appeared for the hearing. He had no Minneapolis attorney present. He had no representation. He was a no-show. And so they issued this bench warrant. And then I guess the court had reached out to the federal office, where he's in custody now, and asked him if he was going to come. And they basically told them that, they weren't transporting him. Like, that was a risk, that was too costly, whatever. They weren't transporting R. Kelly for this hearing. So it seems that there was some communication going on, and Steve Greenberg just decided not to deal with it. But then after the hearing passed and nobody showed up to represent R. Kelly, and R. Kelly wasn't there, then all these media outlets started running with the story, saying that, arrest warrant has been issued for R. Kelly. He failed to show, blah, blah, blah. And so then Steve Greenberg takes to his Twitter, and basically saying he didn't know, he didn't say he didn't know about the hearing. He said that he didn't receive a notice about the hearing, and that R. Kelly didn't receive a notice about the hearing. So how were they supposed to appear? And then he said, he's in federal custody. It would be up to them to get him to any hearing. You know, that R. Kelly can't just say, okay, well, I want to go to this hearing, and then they make it happen. You know, they have to coordinate. And, you know, he's gone through this whole thing about the coordination and who's responsible for getting R. Kelly where he needs to be. And he went through that in the motion that he filed to the judge in the um, in the Cook County case, because remember, R. Kelly didn't show up for his last hearing. And so my thing with Steve Greenberg, and this is just my feelings, I don't know if this is some legal maneuver on his part, so I don't really like to call into question what he's doing, but just my perception as an outsider looking in is that R. Kelly is dealing with enough that he doesn't need these distractions. He doesn't need, you know, these shenanigans going on. You knew that those charges had been filed against him. You knew that there was going to be a hearing on September 12th. Why not just get an attorney in Minneapolis to go and appear and say, he pleads not guilty? It would have been that simple. Like, why continue to create all this chaos that's making your office looked kind of shady, making people question your representation of R. Kelly, and making people question R. Kelly in general as far as if he's taking these charges serious or not. And I know that there are people that are saying, well, he has, you know, more important things to deal with. Yes, he does have more important things to deal with, but that doesn't mean that you neglect the small things, because then the small things eventually over time become bigger things. So, guys, what do you think? Like, if the media knew R. Kelly had a September 12th hearing, because that's where I got the information from a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So, if they knew, why didn't Steve Greenberg know? And if there was a conference call in August that Steve Greenberg was on the conference call and he knew that they were going to schedule this hearing, why is he now saying, oh, well, I didn't get a notice and R. Kelly didn't get a notice? And can we really say that R. Kelly didn't get a notice? Because that's what happened with the Heather Williams case, was that, you know, he claimed he didn't know anything about it, but then we find out that he was actually served as he was leaving the jailhouse. So I just think that they need to tighten up, you know, and not be playing games. Take this stuff serious. And, you know, even though we feel that the charges are bogus and they don't make any sense, that doesn't mean that you ignore it, that you have to deal with it. Because like right now you're trying to get R. Kelly released, which I still don't understand, because he has no bond in New York. And if the judge does agree on the September 18th hearing to grant him bond, you know New York is going to be waiting to swoop him up and take him to New York, where they definitely aren't trying to let him go. But if he gets bond in the federal case in Chicago and he hypothetically gets bond in the New York case, now he has a bench warrant out against him. Don't you think the people from Minneapolis are going to come and try and get him on that bench warrant? So why create more chaos is all I'm saying. So guys, let me know what you think about Steve Greenberg and the way he handled this situation. Should he have had an attorney go into that hearing and represent R. Kelly, or do you think he was right in just ignoring it and acting as though, you know, like trying to swat them away like they're a gnat or something, and not dealing with it because he has all this other stuff that he's dealing with? And then speaking of Heather Williams. Okay, so you guys know, here's another thing that Steve Greenberg did. So he made a Twitter post last month where he kind of insinuated that in Heather Williams' response to the court, that she admitted to, you know, bringing the case against him, the civil case against him, because it was all about money. And so a lot of people took that to mean that Heather Williams had, you know, said that she lied about, you know, what the lawsuit was about, and that the lawsuit had gone away. But the lawsuit has not gone away. It is still currently in the court system, and they were supposed to have a hearing on August 29th, but that hearing didn't take place. And so now there's a October 3rd hearing that's supposed to be taking place, and then another hearing later on in the month. So on September 3rd, there was a motion filed for, it says, file appearance or jury demand answer or plead. And so the judge allowed that, and that has been moved over to October 3rd. So they're going to deal with that on October 3rd. And then also on September 3rd, there was a motion filed, says case continued for case management conference. The judge allowed that. That is going to be on October 29th of 2019. And then the third issue, or the third motion that was filed, was dismiss, strike, or withdraw a specific defendant, which was denied. And so I'm assuming that that was a motion that was filed by R. Kelly's attorney trying to dismiss the case altogether, and the judge has denied that. So they're moving forward with that civil case with Heather Williams, and so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. Then another issue with the attorneys. So this week it was all about the attorneys. So there is a YouTube channel called Hollywood Next, and so this YouTuber called Doug Anton. Now, I know attorneys, like personally know attorneys. I have dated an attorney. And when I ask them about some of the stuff that's happening with this case, they are just like shaking their head. So just to give you guys a little brief history here, you know the whole issue with Dana J and the Kevin Darrell guy and all of this. And so Dana J is supposed to be hosting a white party. And so for the white party, him and the fake cousin, him and Levi. So him and Levi did a live, and they were basically, I guess, talking about something about R. Kelly has 50 million fans. Not sure how they came up with that number. And if every fan gave $1, that they would have enough money for his defense fund. I didn't watch the video. This is what people came back and told me. So anyway, he's supposed to be doing this white party, and that somehow everybody is supposed to donate $1, and then something about it was going to be on Eventbrite, which makes no sense because Eventbrite costs. It doesn't cost the person that's putting on the event, but it does cost them when people donate, because usually it's like a fee for every donation. Well, not donation, for every payment. So like when people are having events and you're charging them to come to the event, there's like different fees. Like it might be 99 cents for each person that register for the event. Then it's like 25 cents they take off the top for accepting the payment. And then there's like another percentage that the clearinghouse is going to use to clear that payment and merchant account to send it to the person who's actually having the event. And then they do have special arrangements or whatever for people that are nonprofits, but you have to verify that you are a nonprofit. But I still think they charge nonprofits, and then they have something where people can register online, but you actually take the money at the door, and then you kind of eliminate a lot of these fees. So I don't know what they're trying to do on Eventbrite, if they're trying to do something on Eventbrite. But evidently they are asking that R. Kelly fans and supporters donate $1 to whatever is going on. And then they were going to give this money to Doug Anton. So Hollywood Next contacted Doug Anton to ask him about the defense fund for R. Kelly. And so Doug Anton basically said, yes, he is handling a defense fund. He's working, right now people can only send in checks and money orders through the mail, but he's trying to work on setting something up like with PayPal or something like that, where people can go online and, send the money electronically. So she asked him about this white party and about this dollar for Kales thing that's supposed to be going on. And basically Doug Anton said he knew nothing about that, that he has talked to Dana J before about the defense fund. He set the defense fund up. People should be sending money directly to him. He doesn't know about, any other collection that's going on, and that he is not a part of any other collection that's going on. So she was recording the conversation. I don't know if Doug Anton knew that she was recording the conversation. So that's an issue within itself aside from actually what was going on. So this caused a lot of, back and forth and confusion as to what Dana J is actually doing. Why are people trying to interfere with what Dana J is doing? So my thought on the whole thing is this. You have to there are tax implications when you collect money, and whoever is collecting money may have to bear the responsibility of paying any taxes that are collected, which is why you have to be very careful about how you're marketing the money that you're collecting. Like, what is the wording that's being used? So, R. Kelly's lawyer saying, I'm accepting donations for R. Kelly's defense fund may be tax exempt because it's going towards paying for their services. People are saying, I want to pay for their services. It's just like if you go on GoFundMe and say, I want to pay for somebody's funeral. I think if you go on GoFundMe, that they do submit that information to the IRS and how they handle it. I don't know. But if you go to the funeral home and donate the money directly to the funeral home, there is no tax implication to the family that, citizens decided to come together and help you pay for a funeral. Do you guys get that? So for Dana J to say he's going to go through Eventbrite and collect this dollar for Kales from X amount of people and then give the money to Doug Anton, two things are happening here. One, Dana is going to incur any tax liability depending on how much money he collects. Like if he only collects $15, $20, of course that's no issue. But if he collects like over $200 or $300, now it's like a tax implication going on. And so he, just to protect himself, he needs to figure all that out. Now, as far as Doug Anton is concerned, you don't want to take money, you don't want to include a third party when it comes to donations. Because if I donate $100 and give it to Dana J, and then Dana J only gives $90 to Doug Anton, I'm not looking at Dana J for my $10, or to find out what happened to my $10. I'm going to be looking at Doug Anton. And so now you're causing problems for Doug Anton because now you're telling him to take responsibility for money that was not put in his hand, but put in somebody else's hand and then given to him. And so when people, get angry and upset, because like right now, there are going to be people that are going to be angry with me for saying this, but I'm just saying, you guys have to think, you got to be smart about this. And if Doug Anton is saying, I have the defense fund for R. Kelly, why do you need to go through a third party? Why does that money need to touch anybody else's hands other than Doug Anton's? And if Doug Anton is sending receipts to people for the money that he received for them, then just give the money to him. Why do we need this other stuff going on? So to me, that whole thing sounded crazy to me. But, people can do what they want to do. They can give money to whoever they so choose to give to. It's up to them. But if 6 months down the road you find that your money didn't make it to Doug Anton, don't be mad at Doug Anton. Be mad at the person you gave your money to. And that's all I got to say about that. Okay, so then there was a story out that R. Kelly was denied conjugal visits with Azriel and Jocelyn. Okay, and this is just another example of these stupid stories that get put out there trying to keep this R. Kelly story alive, like keep people focused on it, thinking about it. And so basically, they were saying that Azriel and Jocelyn, they've been approved to go and visit him. And then whoever started the article, whatever the low-hanging fruit blogger was, they threw in the part about the conjugal visits. And so people, conjugal visits, it is a real thing, but it is not a real thing for most prisons. Like most prisons do not offer people the opportunity to have sex while they locked up. And if they do offer it, you have to be married to that person. They're not just letting your girlfriend come up and have sex with you. And they definitely ain't letting nobody have sex, one who's being held pending trial. Like that's not even a privilege that would even be considered, or that I think an inmate would even ask. The only way you're going to get that privilege is if you have been convicted of a crime and you have been placed at a long-term prison facility, and then they only offer that to people that are in jail for like small crimes, like people in jail for the things that R. Kelly has been accused of. They would not be offered that. If you killed somebody, that kind of stuff, they're not offering those people conjugal visits. So stop watching television and get into the real world. It is something that's offered, but very few prisons offer that, and they're not just offering it to anybody. And so you just have to be careful with these stories, because sometimes people are just making up stories to put out there, and then they have these clickbait titles that get people to watch it, and now all of a sudden you got people going around talking about R. Kelly asked for this and it was denied, when it simply isn't true. Dominique, so y'all remember Dominique Gardner, who was one of R. Kelly's girlfriends for quite some time. I believe Dominique might have been with him like 7, 8, maybe 9 years. And then she was the one that was on the Surviving R. Kelly reality show, where her mother allegedly rescued her, but we've since learned that it was all staged, that all of this was staged, and there was no rescue. And Dominique herself has said that she was not rescued by her mother. Well, Dominique is having a baby, and she did a gender reveal, and she is having a girl. So congratulations to Dominique. She has moved on with her life, and she's already said she's not going to be a part of any prosecution of R. Kelly. So she's gone on with her life, and so congratulations, Dominique. And in this picture from the video that she did from the gender reveal, the guy that's swinging the bat that popped the color palette, that is the father of the baby. And then the guy that was pitching the I don't know what they call them, but it's like a little pouch, and it has this dust in it, and then when you hit it, the pouch bursts and then it reveals either pink or blue. Well, the guy that's tossing the pouch, that's actually Dominique's father. And so when I was watching that, I was like, okay, well, where was her daddy when all this rescuing and she was living with R. Kelly? Where was he when all that was going on? So I don't know if she's always had a relationship with her dad, but in the video, the mom says that that is Dominique's dad that's tossing that pouch. So we're going to go with that and be happy that the dad was there and that he is a part of Dominique's life as well. Speaking of daddies, okay, so Angelo has finally formalized his company. You know, he said that he was going to start this organization to help women that were in sexual abuse situations, to help them get out of those situations, help them heal and deal with the trauma of what has happened in their lives, or if you're currently in a situation, to get you to the help that you need to get out of that situation. So he announced the other day that the company has formed, and you know, the Team Truth, that's what it's called. And so he created an IG page. He wanted everybody to go and follow if you are in support of helping women that are or men that are dealing with sexual abuse. And I think the IG page is 1000 Team Truth, or Team Truth 1000, something like that. Child, I don't know if Angelo is the one, but I mean, I guess if something good or positive can come out of this situation, then more power to him. I'm not going to knock him for trying. And then next, so there's supposed to be a truce. You know, you guys saw my last video where Kevin Darrell was going ham on Dana J, and y'all know I was there for it. I love it because y'all know Dana J ain't my guy. Okay, well, there's supposed to be a truce going on because somehow Dr. Rice got involved, somehow Sharon got involved. There was a live video over there on Dr. Rice where they was just, everybody was going off. People were calling in saying that, or even in the comments saying that, you know, everybody's supposed to be for Rob. You know, y'all need to get along. Y'all need to work it out. This isn't a good look. And I admit that it wasn't a good look. It was entertaining and it was funny. I ain't gonna lie. But it is not a good look and it's not a good representation when you consider everything that R. Kelly is going through. But I did agree with the assessment that if somebody has proven themselves to be a liar and untrustworthy, and I've said this before, and I said in the last video when I prefaced Kevin Terrell's video, that there really ain't nothing you can say to me. Like I can, say, okay, well, he over there doing whatever he doing, but I'm not going to go over there with you and do it with you and support you, because once that trust level is gone, nothing you can say or do is going to make me believe you. And so people were going, going in on Kevin, Dr. Rice, and Sharon, saying that they were keeping the mess going, blah, blah, blah. And so Sharon, got straight up hood on the video, and Sharon was like cussing people out. And I was like, oh my God, Sharon. So I don't know, Sharon can be up here 1 minute, then she can be down here 1 minute. And I guess however you coming for her, that's how she gonna respond. But anyway, since that video took place, I guess Dana went and got Will, and then they claimed they had then declared a partnership, and Will was going to provide him some protection and make sure that nothing happened to him if he comes to Chicago to do his white party, or he comes to Chicago to do a rally. And I'm just sitting there laughing at all of it, because I'm like, hey, none of y'all got clout to be stopping anybody from doing anything, because if any of y'all had clout, we wouldn't have over 1,000 people shot in Chicago this year so far. Like, we wouldn't have all these people murdered in the streets. We wouldn't have the two women about a month ago who had did the rally, the peace rally or something in Chicago, and then somebody killed them. We wouldn't be having any children out here getting shot. So if any of y'all really, really had any power in Chicago, none of that would be happening. You wouldn't be fighting over, whatever's going on with the R. Kelly situation. So anyway, Dr. Rice came out yesterday and announced that everybody had done talked and got together, and that they don't have to agree with one another, but they're not going to keep disrespecting one another, and that everybody is free to do whatever they want to do. So Dana can have his rally, Dana can have his white party, Kevin can still have his listening party, and that everybody has their role to play in supporting R. Kelly, and everybody's going to stay in their lane. They're not going to be fighting and going back and forth. And we're going to see how long that lasts, because I have already seen some hints. And I'm not going to say from who or what, but I've already seen some hints that this really, really ain't going to last too long. But we're going to wait and see. We're going to be hopeful and positive. And for me, it really doesn't make any difference, because none of it is helping R. Kelly. Like, my main concern for R. Kelly is what is his lawyers doing to prepare for this case. And like, he doesn't need these distractions, and he may not even know about the distractions. And then, speaking of distractions, so you guys remember I did that video last week where I said, if I was on R. Kelly's visitation list and he was calling me from prison, that I would ask him to do a message to the fans. Y'all remember that? Okay, so why them damn fake sisters, them fake R. Kelly sisters, that did a video with the Dr. Rogers woman talking about they talked to R. Kelly, and everything that I said that I would try to get R. Kelly to say to his fans, why they came back and claimed that R. Kelly then called them and said those exact things. And so I really said that on that video to see who was going to be the first one to come back and say that they talked to R. Kelly and that R. Kelly sent this message to his fans. So it's easy to bait them, okay? It's easy to bait them. So they say that R. Kelly said he love y'all. He's watching what's going on. He appreciate, all the support and the love and everything. So, okay. Then the last thing that I have was Darrell Johnson. We thought Darrell had done rolled off into the sunset, but no. The other night, Darrell did an interview on the Dr. Oz show, and you probably missed it because I know the Dr. Oz show come on like 1 o'clock in the morning where I live at, so I don't know what time to come on where y'all at. But basically, Darrell said that the reason he stepped down from the R. Kelly case is that his mom suffered a massive stroke, and that was the family emergency that that caused him to step down. And I get emotional talking about this because my dad, we're actually getting ready for the 10-year anniversary of my father's passing, and he passed from a massive stroke. So I take that very seriously. But Darrell said that that was why he stepped down, and then he went on to say that his mom actually passed away 2 days ago. So I think he was referring to 2 days from when the Dr. Oz interview was taped, and I'm not sure when that interview was actually taped, but he says that his mom did pass away from the complications from the stroke. So deepest sympathies to Darrell on that. But in this interview, Darrell said that R. Kelly had 56, I believe. It was something in the 50s. I tried to go back to look at the interview again, but I haven't been able to find it online. But he said that there were 56 non-disclosures with women that R. Kelly had dating back to 1991. And he said that the first one was with the Tiffany Hawkins lady, and then the rest of them were over the years. And so Dr. Oz was basically asking him, saying, just because somebody signed a non-disclosure, does that mean that what they're alleging happened didn't happen? And so it kind of cut away, and we really didn't get to hear his answer. But he did go on to say that all of this that's happening to R. Kelly today is a result of two cases that took place in 2056 and 2008. And I was like, did he just say 2056? But then the interview went on, and I think he came back and said 1996. So again, don't know if it was like some editing issues going on. So the Tiffany Hawkins case was in 1996. So for those of you that are not familiar with it, she was a 15-year-old girl that he supposedly had a relationship with. And so in her lawsuit, she said that she began sleeping with R. Kelly in 1991 when she was 15 years old and he was 24 years old. And that she was R. Kelly was an aspiring singer at that time. And so according to the court documents covered by the Chicago Sun-Times, Hawkins' relationship with Kelly ended in 1994 when she turned 18, and Hawkins then slit her wrist in a suicide attempt days after she gave a hair-raising 7-hour deposition. Hawkins settled her lawsuit with Kelly in 1998 and signed a confidentiality agreement. So he went on, basically to say he never did explain, the whole non-disclosure thing and why. I don't even know why he felt the need to bring up that it was 50 plus non-disclosure agreements. But anyway, he did. So once again, bringing up something from the past. So then he was asked about the Gayle King interview, and he really didn't go too much into it. And Dr. Oz asked him, did he believe, that R. Kelly was innocent? And so this was his opportunity to, clean up what he said on the Gayle King show, or the Gayle King interview on the CBS morning show. So he says that he believes, he has no doubt in his mind that R. Kelly is innocent, that he believes that all of this is manufactured, trumped up stuff that's coming about. I was wondering if he was saying that Tiffany, by bringing up the whole Tiffany Hawkins situation, if he was saying that Tiffany Hawkins is one of the defendants in one of these cases. Is he one of the alleged victims in either the Chicago case or the New York case? And I need to go back and look at the graphic that I put up in one of my previous videos to see if she was one of the people that was listed. But anyway, he went on and asked Darrell about the Gayle King interview. And so Darrell says that, that kind of went awry, what he said wasn't what they presented. And so Dr. Oz gave him the opportunity to let us know if he felt that R. Kelly was innocent. And he said that without a doubt, he believes that R. Kelly is innocent, that he believes that all of this is trumped up, charges going back to, that was created by the surviving R. Kelly thing. And Dr. Oz asked him, what does he say to his daughter when him and his daughter talk about the R. Kelly case? And he said that him and his daughter don't talk about the R. Kelly case, so he had no answer for that. But I guess if the daughter did say something to him, he would tell the daughter that he believes that R. Kelly is innocent. Oh, and then he talked about Dr. Oz asked him about Tim Savage confronting him at that press conference, and he said that his thought process on Tim Savage and that whole situation was that when R. Kelly was arrested by the feds, that the Savages were in Chicago, and so if you knew that the feds were getting ready to arrest him, why weren't you prepared to go get your daughter out of Trump Towers? But instead of them, trying to see their daughter or get to their daughter, they immediately got back on a plane and flew back to Atlanta after R. Kelly was picked up that evening. And so to him, he doesn't feel that they're really concerned about their daughter, that they're just trying to make a name for themselves. And he just went on to say that, he kept saying that he thought R. Kelly was innocent and he would stand by that. And he said that because he wasn't fired, that he stepped down for personal reasons, that if Steve Greenberg called him today and asked him to come back, that he would be more than happy to rejoin the team. And then he went on to talk about what a crisis manager is. And he was like, basically, they assess the situation, they assess the possibilities that can result from that situation, and then they counsel or consult with the client to make sure that the client understands that this is what's happening and this is what could potentially happen as a result of it, and to prepare them for how to deal with what's coming down the line and how they should respond. And so what do you guys think? Does Darrell deserve a second chance? Because my thoughts on the matter is Steve Greenberg may be thinking about bringing Darrell back, and so they got him this interview to kind of soften up the fan base, to see how we would react to a possibility of Darrell coming back. But my thing is, I think let sleeping dogs rest, okay? Darrell is in the past. Leave him in the past. Don't bring no more controversy to the situation. And if R. Kelly needs a crisis manager, how about go look for a black woman to be the crisis manager? Because that's what I think R. Kelly is missing from his team right now, is a black person, and more importantly, a black woman. Harvey Weinstein out here got a woman talking mad trash about him. All this stuff that came out about Lisa Bloom, who is Gloria Allred's daughter, and how, she was helping with his defense, with Weinstein's defense. So, Steve Greenberg, y'all need to find a woman other than Nicole, who we ain't heard from Nicole and God knows when, okay? We know that Nicole was hired in case charges were filed in Michigan, but no charges were ever filed in Michigan, so she's kind of like just hanging around. But I think R. Kelly needs a black woman on his team. What else? I think that was it. That was all that I have. You guys go ahead and leave your comments. Let me know what you think about the topics that I just covered. And then also, if there was something that happened that I missed, drop that in the comments also, and I'll go and research it and see if I want to come back and talk about it. Rate the video. Hopefully you'll give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and share the video. Until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye bye.